Yo, yo, yo. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Ooh, my screen looking a little blank today. Aha. Welcome to Morning Motivation, everybody, where we're building community, expanding our thoughts, and getting our days started off on the right foot. I am the captain, Jamon, and I must say, it's an amazing journey we on. It's an amazing ride called life that we are participating in. And I'm grateful to be on that track with you all. So shout out. That chick, yo. Shout out to Toronto Riggins, D-Rob, Craig G is in the building. What up, Mo? How's everybody doing this morning? Yeah. Wait a minute. Can y'all see me? Put a 1 in the chat if you can see me and you can hear me. I got a conflicting message from YouTube right now. It's saying no data. No data. Although I see myself. Go ahead, D-Rod. What's your question, bro? Ah, okay. Now it's switched. It says excellent connection. Good stuff. Thank you for the feedback. What up, D-Rock? What's your question, bro? D-Rob says, is there a difference between being numb and being healed? I've been feeling really good lately and unbothered. Yeah, man, there's a huge difference. Huge difference between being numb and being healed. And we're going to talk about it today. So I'm going to reference that question a little bit later. I'm going to pin that message to the top. Just so it's always there. But yeah, man, there's a big difference. Huge difference. So this morning, we've been talking about the attachment styles. Yeah, man. D-Rob says, I've been scared. Like, what is this peace? I don't want peace. I want problems always. That's what it seems like we sign up for, no matter what we do. It's like there's some sneaky little thing that's following us around, trying to disturb our peace. But we're going to get into it today. And ahead of today's show, I just want to put out there one more time that I am not a licensed therapist or psychologist. I'm just a person who's been through a lot of stuff, have made a lot of mistakes, and I got a lot of help, and I was able to do some healing along the way. And I'm just sharing my journey with you all, hoping that it makes a difference in your life, that you have some transformations, because it's not hard to change. It's not hard to transition. It just takes work. It just takes a lot of time to get past our own selves. As somebody once told me, if you just get over, if you just get over yourself, if you can get out your own head and apply some things, most of us, we're only a decision away from having a great life, from conquering our own personal Goliaths. One decision. Monique says the joy of peace. It can be scary if you're not used to it. If you're not sure what it looks like, it can be a little triggering for you. Speaking of triggering, I think I told you guys about a teacher that I had when I was in 7th grade. His name was Mr. Terrell. And Mr. Terrell was a Vietnam vet. And for anybody who doesn't know how brutal the Vietnam War, the Korean War, I mean, all the wars probably, all the wars are brutal in itself. But in modern times, Vietnam was probably the first war where it was still fought largely hand to hand, where you actually dug trenches in recent history, I would say. And you actually had to face your enemy face to face on large scale. Now, I'm not talking about special forces guys going in and doing that kind of dirty work. I'm talking about just the regular soldier out in a foxhole, defending the perimeters against attack, and sometimes even attacking. That war, we caught a lot of friendly fire from our government spraying chemicals that affected us as our soldiers from guerrilla warfare. And the war was brutal. And that war was probably the most vilified from the war itself, but also the soldiers that came home. They were not welcome home. There was no thank you for your services. The Vietnam War was, I think, the last war that we had that people realized that soldiers go through so much. These warriors that we're sending out here to battle for our freedoms, to protect our way of life, they come back changed on a large scale. And Mr. Terrell was one of those veterans, those survivors. And I told you guys the first day, actually it wasn't even the first day. He probably made it through a month or two, enough that we knew his name and we remembered him. We enjoyed his class. One, he was one of only a few black male teachers. And so we could relate to him. He was understandable. He was a funny guy most of the time. But when it was time to be on task, we had to be on task. And we understood that. But then one day, the go home bell, the end of day bell rang. And Mr. Terrell, he jumps behind his desk and he's screaming. And we think he's just being his same old normal funny self, but the man has tears in his eyes and he is literally shook. He's literally afraid of something. And back then we used to call it, he's shell shocked. Today we know it as post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. We know it as that now. We understand a lot more of what it is, but people don't really fully comprehend what PTSD really is. There's this, the brain, like I said, the brain is basically a living computer. And it has all these different functions and these things that have to work together in order for you to have a normal thought pattern, a normal way of seeing the world or processing things in front of you. And people that, have post-traumatic stress. Matter of fact, does anybody know anybody with PTSD? Does anybody know anybody with it? Have you actually seen the effects of it? Put a 1 in the chat if you have seen somebody who has suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. If you have known anyone suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Toronto Reagan says, yes. Craig G says, but I'm working on peace. I love it. PTSD is a real thing. It is a very, very real thing. Okay, so we have a few people who've known it, who've seen it. And that is kind of somewhat a trick question because we all know someone who suffers from it, because we all suffer from it. We all have experienced trauma, and we may not have knew exactly what it was, or what it, we weren't able to recognize it in that moment. But have you ever walked into a room or got around a certain group of people and you instantly felt triggered? Have you ever saw a show or heard a song or something that triggered a memory? Have you ever walked in your house and saw a certain look and it triggered something? Monique says, I have friends who sit in the back of family gatherings waiting for something bad to happen so they can protect. Yeah, it's a very real thing. Very real thing. I am, a lot of guys, we go through this where I can't sit. It's hard. I can say I can do it, but it's hard for me to sit with my back to the door, the entrance door. I can't focus. I'm constantly looking over my shoulder. Every time the door bell dings, I'm looking around. Some of those things we experience is more than just the need to protect. We have that need for a reason. Something has triggered that. And some things could just be habit, could be a unhealthy fear, or even a healthy fear of a potential outcome, but still there is something triggering that. So yeah, I'm guilty of that. I'm the same way. I'm the exact same way. Cannot sit with my back to a door, among other things. That chick Yo says, I am that person. I'm watching who coming through that door. Yeah. And it's crazy because it could be something as simple as watching a movie and the couple in the restaurant, they're in love, they're all in each other's eyes, and then they don't see this gunman walk into the restaurant and just start blasting. Oh no, that can't be me. Stupid, pay attention. And we talking to the TV. People that talk to the TV, they fit into an extra category. We ain't gonna talk about that right now, because that's me too. But something has triggered you. Something is triggering you when you go in those places, when you have that memory or that feeling, that emotion come back into you. For Mr. Terrell, he was on the battlefield, and what I imagine is there are sirens that go off whenever time there's a bombing run. Every time there's a plane flying overhead, there's sirens that go off. Anytime that there's being mortars are being fired across enemy line, there's sirens that go off. And sometimes you feel helpless because you don't know where the bomb is going to land. You could be running to the spot where it's going to drop. You could stand still and be hit directly. That feeling of insecurity, that feeling of the unknown, of not knowing my death or my life will be decided if I go left, right, forward, backwards, or if I stand still. I don't want to make the wrong decision. Oh, wow, the emoji's up. I don't want to make the wrong decision. And some people get paralyzed with fear. And for Mr. Terrell, later we find out that he lost some buddies. He lost some buddies in a bombing. And the only reason he didn't become a victim of it is because he guessed right. He guessed right. And so that memory is stuck in his mind. And it's hard for him to have normal function in life consistently. Scientists will say your That doggone Bobby Boucher, boy. I always want to say my medulla oblongata, but it's not my medulla oblongata. It is the prefrontal cortex is how it helps you process your logic centers, right? But it's the amygdala, your amygdala. Your amygdala is the first thing that, and it's some little small piece in your brain sitting way back in there somewhere. And like I said, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a therapist, but I just know a few things. But your amygdala is the thing that is the first responder, basically. That's where all your emotions stem from. So when something happens and you feel triggered, that's your amygdala kicking in. Then there's another part. It's three parts. It's the amygdala. Oh, it's your amygdala. Okay, water boy. Appreciate that. Yeah. But it's another one. I want to call it a hibiscus, but that's not it. I'm sorry. I pay attention, but these terms aren't in my head. But I know it's three parts to it, and it's the second part that helps make sense of what the amygdala sees, but it's the prefrontal cortex that actually helps your brain to decipher threat from non-threats. But what happens with a lot of soldiers on PTSD that suffer from PTSD, their amygdala gets stuck and it overrides everything else, so you can't think straight. All you can do is react. And that's where we find ourselves a lot of times when we start spiraling out of control. Doggone, my she's a therapist too. Hippocampus, that's it. Yeah. Boy, I tell you, I married a good one here. Hippocampus. I said hypo. Hippocampus. I told you I know a little bit about a lot. I don't know everything, just a little bit here and there. But your hippocampus, those three, the amygdala, the hippocampus, and your prefrontal cortex, those three pieces of your brain work in tandem to help you make decisions. But if you experience trauma, sometimes that amygdala gets stuck in your own position, and all you do is react. There you go, teamwork. All you do is react. And so I talked to my wife yesterday. We talking about, where's my bro? I want to say Cicely Tyson so bad. Eartha Kitt. We're talking about the boy. Y'all see, it's Friday, man. My brain is tired today. My brain is tired today. But we were talking about Eartha Kitt yesterday. And my wife said she didn't know half the stuff about Eartha Kitt that we saw yesterday. She just admired her as an artist, as an actress. Can you imagine having her backstory? Most people, they would have fallen to pieces. But Eartha Kitt, she did something that was truly amazing. One, she found her safe space. It was only temporary, but it was in her art, in her craft, in her work that she was doing. She found her safe space. So she had moments of clarity, moments of joy, moments of peace. And so before we go any further today, I want to play you guys the ending of that interview that she did back in this. I think this was 80, 86, 88. I want to play the ending of this clip just to kind of so you guys can get a baseline for what we're going to talk about. Yeah, a baseline. So we did what she dealt with, how she experienced life, and how she overcame, or if she overcame.
You've been a tremendous survivor in the face of things that most people would not have survived. Where do you find happiness?
I have to find it within myself. And the wonderful feeling that you have when you're standing on that stage and that audience gives you that applause. It says, Eartha, it's okay. You're still here and we're glad that you're still here. And when I see the young people, particularly today when everybody knows I'm past 50, whatever the number may be, does not seem to matter to them. When I see the people my age who have grown up with me in this business, they're in the audience and they've brought their children and their children's children. Believe me, that makes me feel that I really am a worthwhile person. But then it's something else when I go back to the dressing room, because when I take off the makeup and I'm not Eartha Kitt anymore, You say, okay, now,
You're Eartha May
yeah,
again.
I'm Eartha May again. It becomes a testing ground. And I know that. No matter how hard you try not to, it's still there. I'm not afraid of it. And I'm very glad that I can have the feelings from that urchin. And I'm very glad that I have never tried to cover her up. I'm very glad that she's still a part of me. And I'm very glad that she will always be a part of me. Because she helps me do what she knows I have to do out there on that stage. Because there is where my survival is, with that public. And with those who know me well enough to realize that Eartha May or Kitty, whomever they want to call me, she's okay.
Well, we're very glad that you've revealed so much of yourself and been unafraid to do so. And it's been a great pleasure to talk to you, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rogan.
Thank
It's
you.
always a pleasure.
So she found her peace on the stage, but I don't think she's ever truly found her peace in life because she learned how to cope. And so to start off answering D-Rob's question, when you are coping, sometimes there's coping mechanisms. Sometimes we drink, we smoke, we get around people, we do hard drugs. People do a lot of things to cope with whatever's happening in their life or in their situation. Or they find ways to bear whatever their situation is. For her, it was acting mostly. I'm sure she had some other activities, but she never fully healed from it. And to think about when you're coping, after a while, you go into that dismissive avoidance space and your emotions become blunted. That's when the numbing begins. When all you see, y'all remember the character Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh? Okay, I'll do it. Eeyore was the consummate whipping mule. He expected bad things to happen, so guess what always happened to him? Bad things. He became numb to joy. He became annoy to happiness. He was a buzzkill in a lot of senses just to be around because there was no joy in him. So D-Rob, I would say my guy, I don't know how you carry on when you in your regular everyday life, but if you are half of what you are here, numb is not what you are. My brother, you are definitely healing, so shout out to you for your healing journey. But many of us, we blur their line between trying to look right versus being right. We're trying to fake it till we make it. And I'm gonna be really transparent. I'm always transparent, but I'm gonna be, and this is something that it's something I've already said before, but I'm probably going a little bit more detail today. About 3 years ago, maybe 4, probably closer to 4 years ago, I was in a space where I was reeling from a failed relationship, broken relationship with my children. Three of my children grew up. All they knew was mom and dad. And then my 4th child at 11, 12, 13, me and his mom divorced. And that tore his little world apart. And so I overcompensated. I tried to do everything I could to try to make it right. But when you are the person that has caused the trauma to another person, there's always going to be a little bit of guilt associated with that. So it doesn't always come off as genuine. And then there was this time during the same period where I began to spiral a little bit. I began to think about my upbringing. I began to think about the failed things that I had done in my life. I began to really just get stuck in this negative spiral. And it lasted probably a good week, maybe even two, which is a total violation of how I think, because I will give myself 24 hours to feel whatever I need to feel. If it's heartbreak, heartache, bad decision, I'm just in my feelings for whatever particular reason, I give myself 24 hours. It used to take the whole 24. Now it only takes about 5 or 6 or sometimes 30 minutes depending on what it is. Because I've been changing, I've been healing, I've been growing. And the first thing that I did, to be completely honest with you, is I was in therapy, but certain things in therapy, if you don't talk to your therapist about, they really can't help you through it. And some things I was holding back. Y'all imagine me holding back, right? I was holding back because I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I couldn't make sense of the image in my head was of who I thought I was versus who I was trying to be. And I couldn't reconcile the two because of the guilt that I was carrying. And then one day, I don't know why I did it, but I just started thanking that little boy who had to endure all those things, all the rejection, all the unwanted feelings, all the teasing, the health problems or challenges, the physical disability stuff that I had to deal with early on. And in the process, it probably took maybe 5 minutes of me just thanking that little boy, praising that little boy, and tears begin to stream down my face as I'm reliving some of these emotions. But then an amazing thing happened. I started to feel this real sense of joy. And then it hit me that because he had to go through, because he endured, because he didn't quit, because he didn't give up, I'm able to be the person that I'm becoming. Most people will say, I've failed more times than I've won. And in most cases, that's probably true for most people. But the wins are the sweetest because of the failures and not the other way around. The wins are way more sweeter because of the failures. If you do not have the failures, then what really is the win? You remember the line from Vampire in Brooklyn? Pastor Pearlie, if every day's a sunny day, then what's a sunny day? You could do some real good things could happen from that $2. Yeah. So, one of the first things I try to tell people when you're going through the process of healing, you have to really acknowledge what you've been through, your part in it, how you felt about it, and you have to be honest with yourself, because the worst person in the world you're going to lie to is you. You can fool everybody out there, but when you start lying to yourself about your contributions, when you start lying to yourself about how you really felt about a thing, you start losing credibility within yourself. It confuses your subconscious mind, and now it starts to give you more of the lie that you want. And it helps you believe it, because you can tell a lie so long that you think it's true, which is an easy way to see that we have complete authority over our minds. We can program it to be, do, say whatever we want it to do. So I urge you today, choose life. Choose abundance. But that's the first thing you want to do on this process of healing from hurts. Acknowledge it. And if need be, maybe you need to go and thank that little girl or that little boy who endured that trauma. Whether you were little or whether you were an adult, it don't matter. Trauma comes when it comes. But we have to acknowledge that we had it. We have to acknowledge that we had it. We have to appreciate the sacrifice, because we'll watch underdog stories and we'll see these people overcome all these things and we'll be like, yo, they did their thing. Yo, they overcame. But you doing it every day. You overcoming stuff every day that you never give yourself credit for. Start giving yourself the credit, regardless of how trivial, how small it may sound to somebody else. Your trauma, your story is your story, and it matters. It's important. It's hugely important to you. This is kind of why I started out with this show with personal development, because everything that I'm going to talk about today, we've already talked about, just not in this context. Now that you've had a chance to kind of go through a lot of the personal development stuff, now we circling back around and putting it all together. Affirmations. Why do you think we started doing gratitudes and affirmations? Because that's what happened with that little boy. That's what I had to do. I had to see what I'd come through. So now I'm grateful for my past mistakes. I'm grateful for those that hurt me. I'm grateful because I made it through it. And because I made it through it, I've learned some things. And because I've learned some things, y'all give me the cheat code. I see I can't go that way, but if I do it this way, so now the failure is the catalyst for my success. Give myself a little applause on that one. So that thing that you're ashamed of, you don't want to tell people, those thoughts that you have, that you get mad at yourself for, it's all a part of your story. And the fact that you feel a thing about it, the fact that it bothers you, tells you that there's work that need to be done there. So number 2, still create affirmations. Declare the things that you want to see in your life. Start programming that subconscious mind. When your mood goes down, do your gratitudes. Be grateful for what you've overcome. Because I've seen people blow their whole life up because they felt a way that particular day. What we call first world problems. Starbucks is closed. So now we got road rage. And we about to go ruin our whole life because Starbucks is closed. Or our account was overdrawn because some stuff came out that we got hacked, or some bill came out and then drained your account and you forgot it was coming out. I mean, the smallest thing could happen, and now we are there making lifetime decisions. Am I the only one? Am I the only one? I can't be. I can't be. Because we're all human. We're all human. Y'all know I'm rebellious, right? And so what I started doing one day, I started rebelling against myself. I started to do, when I would have a negative thought that would say I was less or I wasn't good enough, I would rebel against that thought and prove myself wrong. Say the opposite. Bruh, you suck. Oh, but I'm the best one out there. Oh yeah, you say I couldn't do this thing right here? Oh no, I'm about to show you I can. And I'm having a conversation with myself. And then when I go out and do it, every now and then I'll be in the mirror, I'll be brushing my teeth or doing something, shaving or whatever, and I'll be shaving and I'll look at myself and I'm just like, I see you, bruh. You did it. You was right. You right. You got it. You got it. This is what you call self-love. Self-love isn't just going to get your nails and your pedicure and a massage. Self-love is that deep work. that appreciation for yourself, that appreciation for what you've overcome, the admiration of yourself. What else can you do? Can you do hearts too? Is that a heart? Hey, I got to cut that off. It's going to get annoying. But anyway, that's admiration. Yeah, he said, no, not you, bro. Yeah, man, that's growth, bro. That's growth. That is growth. So when I used to ask that question all the time, what do you want? What do you want? I mean, truly, what do you want? Yeah, we can name the houses and the cars. We can name all of these other things that we want. But I think deep down, we just want peace. We want to feel like we matter. We want to feel unashamed to be who we are. And we want to be accepted for who we are. Am I wrong? Let me know, am I wrong? Give me a one in the chat. If you agree with me, put a 1 in the chat. If you think, I'm off basis, put a 2. Because I've known so many people who got the nice house, who got 2 thumbs up, make fireworks, who got the nice house, the nice car. Hey. And they're miserable. They got the good job. They're making 7-8 figures. But they're miserable because they don't have no peace. They don't have peace. And this is how you do it. This is how you create peace in your life. Appreciate you. Even if you were the catalyst for what went wrong. I don't know. Even if you're the catalyst for what went wrong. Hey, man, yeah, I messed that up. I admitted it. I want to fix it. She wasn't open to fixing it, so I'm just going to tell her, I got to take this L right now. But guess what? The next time, you'll be more equipped. You'll be better. And then you'll be able to take more control of the relationships, the job opportunities, whatever. Because sometimes, look, nobody wants to take an L. Hey, Bree, can you pull the door up close for me? Sorry about that. We're all going to have to take an L from time to time. There's nothing we can do about that. It's gonna happen. There's no such thing as perfection as in human. You can't put them in the same sentence. We have to be okay with taking the L. We can't worry about the judgment because most of the people that are judging us, they're even more flawed or just as flawed as we are. So today it may be us, but tomorrow it's gonna be them. It's gonna be them. Nobody gets through life unscathed. Nobody gets through life perfectly. We all have our moments when we're up. We have our moments when we're down, and we got to learn to embrace those. We got to learn to embrace those. And then once you do that, once you understand who you are, what you've done, where you come from, be grateful for it. Now create affirmations. Then when those times happen when you just having an off day and the affirmations don't seem to be working, and now those negative thoughts start creeping back in, now get rebellious and do the opposite. Say the opposite things that you're thinking. Because you may think it, but you ain't got to speak it. And I'm so guilty of this. My wife gets on me all the time about it. And it matters. So I'm grateful to her for caring enough about me to say, don't talk about my husband like that. And I'm thinking like, dang, she right. She right. Because sometimes you kind of want to be in that space because, I don't know. I don't know why we want to be in that space sometimes. We don't really want to, but we're comfortable there, I guess. And then another thing that helped me, does anybody journal? Does anybody journal? Like your feelings, your thoughts. You know how we used to have like diaries back in the day? Dear diary, today was a great day. Dear diary, today sucked. Do people still do that? I'm curious. Does anybody here journal? Monique said, that's what I'm working on, not speaking it. It's tough. It's like work. It's like working out. The more you work out, the more you can work out. The stronger you get, the more endurance you have. Said that chick yo says and make you a soundtrack for those negative moments. Yeah. Yeah, I did that. Ironically, I've only done that once, and it was years ago. And I would play it in my little headphones at night when I went to bed, because my mind was in such a negative space. Because I felt like I had failed so many times. Remember, I went through a 10-year stretch when I lost my ability to earn through a motorcycle accident. I lost property. I lost stuff. Then I lost the marriage and the respect, my self-respect, and with the kids, that relationship. I felt like I lost everything, and I felt like I had to go prove something, to go earn all of that back. And so I was just in this negative space for years, and I was resistant to therapy at the time. I was resistant to anybody telling me that, it's going to be all right. Just one day at a time. Man, I don't want to hear that mess. I don't want to hear that BS. Monique says, I need to move to a 5 subject. She feel the 1 subject up pretty fast. Yo, shout out to you. That's what I'm talking about. Some people think, and this is the hard part of the personal development space. This is what makes it not sexy or not attractive, because it requires you to push yourself, to challenge yourself, to have some discipline, to have some accountability and responsibility, because we are quick to hold somebody else accountable. We are quick to put responsibility here and there, but we're not always as gung-ho about doing it to ourselves. And people around us, especially the ones close to us, they see where we at. Fellas, these ladies, they can crush our souls if they truly wanted to. Oh, can they crush them? I know, because I've heard some do it. I've heard a few do it. But they give us grace, even when we're crushing theirs. So be mindful of that. Accountability is a great thing, but self-accountability is the best thing. Putting yourself in the other person's shoes. Years ago, when my ex, when we first got married, she didn't work. Well, she started out trying to work, but cost of living was just crazy because we were in Alaska. And it cost more to put our kids in daycare than it did that she made at her job. And so we decided that it was probably best for her to just stay at home and, run the household, and I would go out and I would hustle and make sure that we were good. That's the agreement that we made. And I'm so busy trying to make this life, to provide this income, to be the protector, be the provider, that I never put myself in her shoes to understand what she had going on, what she was dealing with. And we got into many arguments because I would belittle some of the work that she did. Or I would complain that she didn't do this enough. Or I've been working all day and I come home and this ain't done and that ain't done. And she listened for a while. And I would just go in there like King Kong, pounding my chest. And then one day she said, we were talking, we weren't even talking about anything like that. But I remember just like it was just yesterday. She said, hey, when you are working all day and I'm here with the kids. Because then she started keeping other people's kids too, because she did want to generate, bring some money into the house as well. And she said, when you're out and you're doing all these things, I really appreciate, the effort, the sacrifices that you make. But she said, when you come home, I need some adult time. I'm with children all the time. I'm in this place where I don't have any friends. I don't have any family. You're my family. You're all I have. And you come home and you just want to rest. You want to watch the game or drink a beer or just relax. And so it's putting me in a not good space. And as I listen to her talk, matter of fact, I'm going to give her some applause for that. Because this was the first time that I realized that it wasn't all about me. Because I was selfish. I didn't realize how selfish I was at the time. And this was a hard reality. Put a 1 in the chat if you have selfish moments. Put a 2 in the chat if you just selfish. Monique says, I know that place. Yeah. And I never put myself in her shoes to really understand what she was experiencing. And so I had to kind of dial back the thudding of my chest, because as a man, I'm supposed to do those things. And I'm not supposed to hold that over her head as if it's some prize or if it's some trophy. It's my job. That's my family. Monique says I had to check my husband about that. Oh, man. No. Not Little Innocent. Come on, Little Innocent. Don't be checking people now. Hey, yo, bruh, let me talk to you for a second. D-Rod said 1 and 2. Hey, bruh. Shout out D-Rod, bruh. Shout out to D-Rod because, yo, that's a hard truth to admit. But guess what, D-Rod? You're supposed to be. You're not married. You don't have children. It is about you. It's all about you, and it's supposed to be. You right where you supposed to be, my dog. I have those moments. Yeah. Because the thing is, even if we're in a relationship, we're still individuals. So we do need our time. And so the one word I haven't used yet, and I reserved it on purpose, was this: communication. Because we all know it. Like, this personal development stuff is nothing new. We all know these things. It's communication. I'm about to repeat what he just said. Hold on, let me get my thoughts together. Yeah, hey, I think we call it protecting your peace. Some people don't come to add to your life. They come to add to theirs. And if you find somebody who's coming to add value, where my cat spray? If you find somebody that's coming to add value to your life, meaning they are giving more than they are taking, that's a person worth keeping around for a little while. And they're not hard to find. I don't know if she the one, bruh. I don't know if he the one. Are they adding more value than they're taking? Are they adding more value than they are taking? If they are, they might be worth further exploration. If they're not, get the cat spray. Heifer, you got to go. In my Marty Marr voice. But communication is key. You got to be able to express those feelings. You got to be able to hear the hard things from your partner without catching an attitude and not talking to them for 2 weeks. We're adults, people. We're not children. We're adults. Ladies, if a man doesn't feel comfortable telling you what he really thinks or what he really feels, you might not have that man much longer. If he gets vilified for everything that he say to you, Well, eventually he gonna say it to somebody else, and they're gonna say, "Oh, baby, I hate that you're going through such a terrible thing. Come to mama." Fellas, if every time your girl say a thing and you super defensive about it, and she wasn't even talking about you, if everything is what I do, you might be on borrowed time there, bruh. And I know it's easy to say, I can do bad all by myself. I know it's easy to say, man, I can be single, man. I'm good. But are you really? I mean, who really wants to be by themselves? Who really wants to live a life with no companionship? Who really wants to go to everybody's wedding, go to everybody's birthday party celebration, go to everybody's outings, and they're always by themselves, or they got their girlfriends, or they got one other homeboy, or, you know. We all want some form of companionship. T-Rob said, yes, sir, need me a soft woman. Well, I'm gonna tell you, this might be controversial. I try not to do too much controversy. Family cookouts, yeah. Hey, auntie. Oh, that's Uncle right there. Uncle flirting with everybody, man, because Uncle ain't never got nobody, so he always flirting. So this might be a little bit of a controversial statement. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. But I've yet to meet a woman who wasn't soft. Now, I got some aunties, and I know some ladies who hard as a bag of hammers. But I've seen all of them melt when the right man come in their life. I've seen all of them say, well, look, brother, excuse me, ma'am, excuse me, could you lower your tone a little bit? Well, I just wanted to make sure you was hearing me. I mean, yeah, it's like, part two of my controversial statement. I think that women don't necessarily come finished. They're not in their full feminine because as a woman, as a helpmate, a woman is supposed to mold to her husband. So if she's supposed to mold to her husband, depending on where she's come from, her traumas, her experiences, she might have had to be harder. She may have had to play roles that she necessarily wouldn't want to. But once the guy comes in and she feel like she can drop that guard, I haven't met a woman yet, bro, that don't have that capacity. Haven't met one yet. And I've met some quote unquote alpha female. Oh, I hate the term alpha female, but I totally get it. I totally get it. We might have to do a Q&A on that one day. Matter of fact, they're gonna be on our nightcap session. We're gonna talk about alpha women, alpha men, because they sound similar, but they so different. Anyway, I stopped on journaling. Being able to journal and get your thoughts on paper. Getting your thoughts on paper. It may not seem like it matters, but it does. It may not seem like it makes sense, but it does. Having thoughts in your mind, speaking them out your mouth, but also writing them, it's all forms of communication, personal communication. And when you can get all three to line up, you cooking with gas. If you can get two to line up, you still cooking. Now, which direction you cooking in? So I would say shoot for more of the positive side than the negative side. And the last thing that I would say today is same thing that Eartha Kitt. She found her safe space. Hers was on stage. Hers was in a theater. Hers was with other people. She never found it in personal relationships. She never really found it with family. But a safe space like Morning Motivation, a community of people who are like-minded, who think like you think. And today it's easier than ever to join groups. We can go to Meetup. We can come to YouTube. We can go to, I don't know, you want to go to Twitter or X or Facebook groups. I mean, there are so many ways to be a part of a community that shares your beliefs and shares your thoughts. But I will caution you, know your beliefs and thoughts before you go into communities. Because most of us go into the social media space and we let other people inform how we think. People who could be lying, people who are perpetrating a fraud, people who are looking to hoodwink and bamboozle you, people who don't really care about you, people who are judgmental and never transparent. I avoid those places like the plague because their motives are not honorable and they don't really want to help. They just want ratings, they want views, they want clicks, they want shares, they want subscribes because they want money. They want money. Their personal life's falling apart all around, but they're telling you how to be in yours. Reminds me of my guy DJ Academics right now. This man got all this drama in his life. He got chicks getting, chicks making accusations against him. He got people running up in his crib, people stealing money from him. But he pop it on shows like Fresh and Fit and what another show I saw him on, talking about how to be men and how to be, bruh, come on. Y'all hypocrites, dude. Shut up. Y'all hypocrites. Y'all just doing it for the clout. Y'all chasing the bag. Y'all don't really mean that stuff. And unfortunately, people are falling prey to them. And sometimes you got to know how to disconnect. Take it for what it is. It's entertainment. It's not real. It's entertainment. Don't believe it. It's entertainment because half these people out here, they're not living what they're talking about. And that goes for the church as well. I've never seen so many stories about these pastors, these churches, and the dysfunction that's happening. Man, I tell you, it's a mixed bag world we live in right now because it's so visible. And it's such a capitalistic society. How do you be a part without fully embracing? That's the trick. But it starts with doing the deep work, healing. So D-Rob, when you're numb to something, you don't feel anything. You don't feel joy. You don't feel sadness. You're just existing. But when you're healing, you can appreciate the downtimes. You can see them for what they were. This person didn't know what they had. This person was misguided. This person, I wish them the best, but it just wasn't for me. I get a chance to experience some amazing other relationships and people and opportunities without dragging all this Gucci, Louis, Prada, Balenciaga bags behind me. You at peace and you feel good. When you're numb, you feel nothing. D-Rob says, as I get closer to 30, I just feel my mental shifting. And this morning, motivation fam, help me out. I'll be a part of the OG. Let's go, I like it. I feel everything for real. I'm happy. And that's what it's supposed to be. And so now because you're happy, now because you understand the direction you want to go. Now because you're chasing a dream. Now because you are in a space that for the first time in your life, you're probably happy. Most people are 50 years old, 60 years old, and they've never experienced happiness. They don't know what real joy feels like because they've been pretending so long. They've been living in situations where they couldn't appreciate it because they didn't love themselves. And I don't care how much you love somebody, if you don't love yourself, you're never fully going to be able to love them. Health Talk, what up, my guy? Health Talk says, I feel you have to get what you need and keep it moving. We have to be open-minded to all facets of positive healing. All facts, all facts. D-Rob said, back when I joined back, oh man, we started in September. So yeah, you came in September. You said I was a mess. Oh man. But no, but real talk, y'all. Life can be challenging. Life is beautiful. I wouldn't take nothing for it, but it's a challenge. It's a struggle. And there are some things that's gonna pop up that you never expected, never saw coming, and you still got to deal with it. You still got to get past it. You still got to mend fences. You still got to heal. You can't walk around with guilt. You can't walk around feeling like you don't belong. You have to start to appreciate yourself and do that deep work. You have to heal that inner child. But before you can heal the inner child, you got to talk to him. Talk to her. Let her know you made a mistake. It's okay. Things didn't work out. It worked out differently than I thought it would. And I messed up. It's okay. Especially if people ain't holding it over your head. Stop holding it over your own head. Love yourself. Because people, we understand we are flawed. And I'll forgive my family member because I love them, because I want to see them do better. But if they still hold themselves guilty and guilty, hold themselves guilty and won't be accountable for the growth of it, won't be accountable for changing that narrative in their own head, nothing I can do. Because you won't accept the forgiveness because you haven't forgiven yourself. It's okay. I give you permission to forgive yourself and be past it. If that's what you need, some of us need permission. You have it. Go be your best, wonderful self. Go live your best life. It's on you. Unfortunately, it's on you. But fortunately, it's on you. The choice is yours. You're a decision away from changing your life for the good. One decision away. When I walk in this house, I'm not going to have the mean mug on. I'm going to walk in, I'm going to hug my wife and kiss my children, and I'm going to say, I'm so happy to be home. Instead of walking in like a gloomy Gus, acting like you don't want to be there. Just one decision away, one act. And the more you make those decisions, the easier it gets. And then you begin to change something inside. Because now that muscle is getting stronger. And now you're starting to see results. And it happens over time. I became less triggered over time. Toronto Regan says, you have to give yourself permission to be happy. Yeah. Unfortunately, but we have to. It would be great if we could just be happy. But happiness sometimes is conditional. And so you do have to give yourself that permission to be happy in spite of what's going on. Some of the results I've experienced in the last 4 years since coming to terms with my journey and some of my choices in life is I became less triggered. I began to drop my guard. I am very happy to be here. And because of that, I began to meet new people. I began to have better opportunities. And I begin to see my dreams slowly turn into reality. And as I sit here today, I am becoming the person I always thought I was. I'm no longer having to fake it because I'm becoming it. But it did not happen overnight. You can't give from an empty cup. So you got to work on filling your own cup before you can give to others. And then you got to find a source that constantly supplies and refills that cup. Some people say meditation. Some people say prayer. Some people say your faith. Whatever your source is, you need to find it and hold on to it for dear life. The hardest work, the best work I've ever done is on myself. And it's paying so many dividends now. It has always paid dividends, but I'm just now starting to appreciate and recognize it for what it is. And the last thing I'm going to say is this. We're talking about something that we teach children when they are 2, 3 years old. Emotional regulation. Emotional regulation. It's taught. Supposedly it's taught at a young age. Teaching children how to regulate their emotions. What happens is, if it wasn't an intentional thing that we were taught, and most of us did not get taught that, at least not intentionally. But we learned over time, and so it was caught. Just because I'm mad, I can't do this. Just because I'm in my feelings, I can't do this. Learning to regulate our emotions is the key to most of us becoming the person that we want to be. Getting out of our own way. Getting out of our own way. Our emotions, that amygdala. Learning to regulate those things. Process it faster. And the more you do it, the stronger you get at it. Monique says, I had to tell some college students the same thing. Super smart, but didn't feel like they belonged because they didn't see a lot of people who look like them. Your portfolio and hard work say you do. I like that. I like that, Mo. Oh, man. But look, that pretty much concludes attachment styles. What y'all think? Is this helpful? Y'all gonna be able to take some of this stuff and create some really good moments in your life, undo some past traumas, and understand just who you are, how you operate. Be able to recognize how other people operate. Maybe not even knowing their traumas, but how they act, you can tell this person is anxious. I see the clingy, I'm the needy. Matter of fact, let me stop real quick. I want to give one example real quick. My bad. I know some of y'all are ready to go. If you got to go ahead and take off. But I used an example a few weeks ago. My wife she's a hugger. She loves that physical touch. She loves that interaction with me. I'm dismissive. My emotions are a little blunted. And so I said that her need for me to, when I come home, she wants to spend that time. She wants to hug. She wants to have the interaction. I don't necessarily need that. And because of that, I put a strain on our relationship early on. But as I'm starting to heal, I'm understanding her need for that. And because I am making the change, she sees my change and she's meeting me halfway. Sometimes she meets me more than halfway. So for anybody out there who's struggling in relationship, for anybody out there who's struggling in a work relationship, whatever relationship that you're in, personal relationship, whatever one you're in, know, true change starts with you. You can't expect the other person to change without the example. And if you are a leader, it is your duty. It is your obligation to lead with change, to show your work. Okay. It's your obligation to show your work, especially if you have a wife or a girlfriend or children and you want them to be better at this and better at that. Ask them, hey, what could I do to be better? What improvements can I make to help our relationship go smoother? I dare you to ask those questions. And don't be offended at the answer. Don't be offended at the answer. Listen, absorb it, and get to work. If you're a leader, you gotta lead by example. Can't lead by words. Your words have to be backed up by something, with something. That's where your respect comes from. That's where your respect comes from. So, it's Friday. I got 17 jobs and I got a lot of stuff to do. Monique says, healing is a beautiful journey. I'm learning to use the right words, shaking my head. I mean well, but sometimes pick the wrong word. Oh yeah. Yeah, the wrong word just comes so easy. Comes so effortlessly. Oh man. But this has been fun. Next week, we're going to kick off with something different. I'm not going to give any spoilers because I really don't know just yet because I have 3 different things I'm thinking and I'm not sure which direction I want to go in just yet. So I guess Monday we'll all be surprised. But it's going to be good, I hope. Hope you guys get some value from it. But thank you once again for your time. This is Jamon, your captain. Please disembark the plane expeditiously. Y'all have a great day no matter what. Health talk. Y'all go out there. Relax this weekend. Enjoy your family. Enjoy yourself. Whatever that means. But be proud of what you've done. You've come so far. You've overcome so many hurdles. You've done things people said you couldn't do. And you made it look easy. So this weekend, I want you to relax. Rest. Learn to appreciate who you are. Learn to appreciate what you give, what you bring, your value proposition. Just evaluate it over the weekend. Think about who you truly are through action and deed, not who you think you are. And on that note, I feel like it's time to go. All right, man. Y'all have a blessed day, a blessed weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Y'all be easy. Peace. Oh, what happens if I do this? If I do 2 pieces. Nothing happens on peace? Okay, nothing happens on peace. I tried. Y'all be good. Have a great day.